Hello everybody and welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you're new, then a very big hello. My name is Louise. As I'm filming this, a week next week, we would have been in Canada for 3 years. So if you're new here, let me do a little recap. Me and my boyfriend Jake moved from the UK to England in 2019, 2021, 22, yeah, 2019. Boxing Day 2019, so it's a week today as I am filming this, and it is just gone so fast. I do like keeping you guys up to date, and I also like keeping these videos for me. I go back and do watch them. I did one at 6 months, so a 6-month update. I did a 1-year update. I think I did 1.5-year update too, because it was while I was going through my PR. And then I did a 2-year update, and now this is your 3-year update. So this will be my 5th update in Canada. I will leave all my other updates down below if you want to go back and start from the start, so you're kind of up to grasp with what we're doing. But some of you have been following on our journey and watching all our vlogs and stuff, so some of this stuff you may already know. And at the end of this, we are going to do a Q&A. I went over and asked on my Instagram if anybody had any questions for me for my 3-year update. I haven't looked at them because I've been out busy doing the last bits of Christmas shopping, which is crazy because when you're watching this, Christmas is going to be over. But yeah, so I haven't looked at them yet, so I'm really excited to see what questions you guys have for me. So I feel like it's been a busy year. Like I said, I haven't updated you December last year at our 2-year update. So let's just start with what visa we're on now and how long we've been on it. So if you didn't know, we came over on an IEC 2-year working holiday visa, which means that we could work and play and vacation in Canada for 2 years. And once that 2-year runs out, you either have to move on to a different visa, extend your IEC, or go back to England. So that's kind of what happened. Now, 1 year into our IEC, we were very lucky that a program came out called TR to PR. And I just want to put a huge disclaimer out before I start talking, really, and just say when me and Jake moved to Canada, it was pre-pandemic. Like, it was before the whole world went into lockdown. So there is so many different changes and things that have been made since we've done that visa, and so many people reach out to me on a daily basis asking questions, and unfortunately I can't answer them. Not all of them anyway, because I did a completely different process to you guys. It has changed so much, and I am learning certain things, and I honestly recommend you guys checking out, if you want to go for the IEC one, is checking out the IEC Facebook page, which I talk about all the time in my YouTube videos. I'll link that down below. And then one of my friends, Hayley, who lives over on Vancouver Island, she has started a Facebook page, which I will also link down below, and she is so helpful. Like, even if things change, she's up to date with them. If new programs come out, she's up to date with them, and she is honestly great. She asked you not to reach her Facebook because it's her personal account, but she is there for you to answer any questions on that group. And yeah, she is honestly great. So if you've ever messaged me, just to let you know, if I haven't replied, it might be because I haven't seen it, because it goes into a separate folder, or I might not have the answer for you because it just happens so different for us. So yeah, we came over on IEC. 1 year in, we had a very lucky program come up called TR to PR, which stands for Temporary Residence to Permanent Residence. That's what we were. We were a temporary residence, and we wanted to go for a full resident. Now, for this, you had to work for the year that we were in lockdown, and it was for people that like helped during lockdown. So like, for example, I could apply because I worked at Walmart during the pandemic doing the online pickups, and there was like a huge criteria that you had to hit to be able to apply. Me and Jake were very lucky enough to be able to apply together and under me, I think it was. And yeah, it was a very stressful time going from IEC to PR. It's just a huge waiting game. There was like 10,000 people also applying for the same program as you, and it's a lucky draw. It's a lot of money, and yeah, I feel like I'm very honest with you guys, and telling you it's stressful kind of helps, because I know some people going through the visas make it look so easy, but there is honestly, like, there was some days that I woke up and just literally cried because in 2 weeks or 3 weeks. We didn't know if we were staying because our visa was running out, but we had this whole house full of so much stuff. We had jobs, did we have to leave them? And it was very, very, very stressful. But honestly, it is all worth it. Like 100% worth it. And I'm here the other side of it, and I'm so glad I went through that stressful time, because now I'm here. So me and Jake got a permanent residency last November, so we've been PR for 1 year now. And yeah, the next stage of our visa and stuff like that is we would like to go for citizenship. We're allowed to go for citizenship when we have been in the country for 5 years. So this year is year 3, so we have 2 more years. And we're also going to keep our English passport. So we're going to keep our English passport, and we're going to get a Canadian passport, and fingers crossed in 5 years time we'll be sitting down and do a 5-year update of us having both our passports. The reasons we do want to go for citizenship is a few things. It's so much easier to get in and out the country. Like when we go over to the States, we have to show them our British passport. Sometimes it's a bit of a hassle. Like the Canadians can just like go over. And also, if we ever choose to go back to the UK to live, if we get to the UK and then decide we hate it, it's just so much easier to come back to Canada to live if you're also a citizen of that country. So there's so many different positives of having citizenship of 2 countries, especially 2 passports that are very, very powerful. So that is where we are. We've gone to IEC. We're now PR, and then in 2 years we can go for citizenship. Okay, so the next topic that I want to talk about is where we're living and where we've lived and all that jazz. So yeah, we're still in Ontario. We're very much loving it here. I'm not gonna lie, about, I want to say 7 to 8 months ago, I want to say more around March, April time, me and Jake were considering moving to Alberta. This is something that was actually gonna happen, and I didn't tell you guys. I wanted to surprise you guys and just show you a vlog of us in Alberta. I applied for jobs, I had interviews, we planned on packing everything up in a U-Haul and driving over together, and it was either going to be in Calgary or Edmonton depending on what job I was going to get accepted for. We wanted to move because we just felt like the lifestyle over there was more suited to us. Not like I've been there, but I've seen a lot of people move there. And yeah, one of the reasons we didn't is because I didn't get the job that I thought I was gonna get. So it was in like my current job that I was in with the same company, and I applied for it. I had the interview, I had a second interview, and at the second interview I was like, oh my god, I got this. And then Jake's like, let's book a U-Haul, and then I found out I didn't get the job. And that's okay, like you're gonna get so many no's, and I'm gonna go on to jobs in a second on a separate section. So yeah, that's the reason that we didn't move. And kind of, I always say everything happens for a reason, and I literally swear by that saying, because I am so glad, so glad we did not move. Like, did not move. And one of the reasons why it was in our mind is that we'd just gone through the pandemic here in Ontario, and we felt like that this province wasn't really for us. Like, we'd been to all the waterfalls, we'd been to on all the hikes, and like we'd done everything, and we're like, it was just like more city-like, and we didn't think it was for us. But then we remembered, like in the, I would say this year, is that we'd lived in Ontario through the pandemic. Everything was closed, and as soon as everything reopened and the world reopened, we fell in love with where we live so much that we're so glad we didn't move. We just needed to give it a chance. And I think when you're starting scratch from a whole new country, you've literally moved your whole life with no family and no friends, you just have to give it time sometimes. And I was getting homesick a lot, and yeah, I just think sometimes you just need to give it time. And the world reopened, we went across the border to do our groceries, we went to the Niagara Falls while everything was on, and the boat, and we went on more hikes because more provincial parks were opening up, and just everything around the world was opening up, and everything's happened that I just love where we live, near Niagara Falls, Canada, Ontario, and just everything is perfect for us. Obviously we live just over the border from Buffalo, which has an airport airport, which is so easy to fly to anywhere in North America. Like, it takes us an hour to fly to Florida, it takes us an hour to fly to New York, but then if we want to stay in Canada, we can fly from Toronto to BC and all these places. Like, I feel like we're in a prime destination. Also, our summers are absolutely insane. I love how hot it gets here in Ontario, and we don't have rain at all in the summer. I love how winter starts late December and it only goes for like 3 months instead of starting in September all the way to March. Like, just everything about Ontario I absolutely love, and I just feel like everything happens for a reason. Now, I don't want people to move to Ontario just because I'm saying this, and I feel like I don't know, it's hard for me to say how much I love somewhere, but me to turn around and be like, but don't move here. And I'm not saying it in a selfish way, I just think you guys need to do your research. If you're moving to Canada, you need to find a province, a city, a town that's suited to you. One of the main reasons I wanted to move to Ontario, specifically Niagara Falls, is because me and Jake travel a lot. Like, a lot, and especially to America. We want to tick off every single state. So the fact that we're right on the border that has like a Buffalo airport, and we drive, like we drove to New York this year, we drove to Florida, like that suits us. Like, if we want to build our own house in the middle of a field, we can go up north like an hour and we're there. If we want to drive to the city and have a night in the city, it just takes 45 minutes to drive to Toronto. Like, where we are is very much suited to us, but that does not mean it might be suited to you. I've met so many people that have moved to like the towns near here and hated every minute of it, and it's because they haven't found the right place for them. Like, people love like more chilled out lifestyle, and Vancouver Island, like just being in that bubble, and that's perfect for them, but that might not be suited to me. Like, when we went to go visit our friends in Kelowna, oh my god, it was incredible, and we're like, we're moving here, and then when we got home we were like, no, this is home. Like, it's amazing to go on vacation there, but that's not us. Like, the cost of living and just how the lifestyle is just isn't us. And that's a great thing about Canada. Canada is so big, you can try out so many places and you'll find someone that's suited to you. But for us, like, we can just fly and go to Vancouver and be in the bubble for 2 weeks, but then fly home. We can fly to Calgary for the Stampede and fly home. We can go to Nova Scotia for the summer, and like, there's just, Canada is a beautiful place, and it's so big and it's so different in every province. And yeah, I'm just loving the world being back to normal and being in Ontario. So yeah, we're staying in Ontario. We have no plans of moving anytime soon. We have lots of plans of traveling Canada, but this is our home and this is where we're staying. And then moving on to accommodation, when we came out here we stayed in an Airbnb for 1 month in a basement. Go back and check all our updates about that, I don't want to go into it too much. And then we moved into a 1-bed apartment for $1,450, and then we were in there for 8 months, and then we moved into the house, and we're still currently in that house. It's classed as a 2-bedroom house, but we have a basement that has another 2 bedrooms, so if this was in England it would be classed as a 4-bedroom house. It's absolutely gorgeous. It suits me and Jake down to a T. We love it. At one point in our last year we were going to buy it off of our landlord, but we decided to wait because the property market has skyrocketed and he wanted like a crazy amount of money for it. I think I actually said in one of the updates how much he wanted for it, I can't remember now. And we just said that we're paying $1,600 a month. We have no complaints on that. The prices have gone up so much. If you're moving over now, especially in this area, you're going to struggle to find anything under $2,000, which is unfortunate due to the pandemic and everyone missing out on money. Fingers crossed it will crash at some point, and then if that's the case then we'll buy the house. But me and Jake have now said, like, our goal is not to buy a house. Like, we're paying such good money to rent this, and I think our mortgage would be exactly the same if we like bought it. We just need a deposit, but right now we're more content of traveling and putting all of our money into seeing the world before we're having kids. And yeah, so we're still in this house and we absolutely love it here. We haven't bought it, and our ideas of buying it has changed. One day we would love to build a house in about an hour up north, but right now we're still in this house. Moving on to jobs. Now, bearing in mind this is my 3-year update, which means I've been in Canada 3 years, and in those 3 years I have had 4 jobs. I have had more jobs in Canada than I have in the whole time I lived in the UK. And I just want to say it's because when you move your whole life from one country to another, you're not going to fall into your dream job straight away. Like, you're not going to fall into that job, especially during the pandemic when everything was closing. So I've had my fair share of Canadian jobs. Now in the UK, I was a professional dancer. I was working in the entertainment business, and I didn't really want to do that over there as much as I miss it, and I miss it so much. I just knew that one, I'm not gonna experience the same sort of lifestyle as over there, and two, it's time to be a grown-up and have a proper job and start saving for a family. So my first job I had was in a debt collection office where I had to call people up for money, and oh my god, I hated every single minute of that job, especially with someone with a British accent calling a Canadian to ask for money. They're just telling me to get back to my own country, and I don't think I showed in the vlogs how much that job for my mental health was awful. But honestly, it was the worst job I've ever had in my life, and it's not down to the company. I just don't think it was suited to me. Like, people love it. There's people that side with me that still do that job and are succeeding, but for me, I found it very, very straining, very hard. It was very emotionally challenging, and yeah, I was in that job, I want to say, for like 3 months, because I had to leave because the pandemic closed down all the offices, and I want to say it was around March, and I started in January. I didn't leave because I gave up. I physically had to leave because they were closing all offices and they made us all redundant. So everything happens for a reason, that's saying there, and I got fired for a reason. And then when that finished, I was so scared because everywhere was closing, like every single business was closing. So I thought, oh my god, it's going to be impossible to find a job. We've just moved to this country and we're eating through our savings. Then I thought, what's one place that's still open, that's booming at the minute, and that's grocery stores. So I applied at Walmart, which is absolutely hilarious, because when we went to Florida 2 weeks before we moved to Canada, we were shopping in Walmart. We was like, oh my god, imagine if you get a job in Walmart. And it so happened I got a job in Walmart. It was for the online department. I was the department manager, and the business was like booming because everyone was ordering online because no one wanted to come to the stores. So I literally had a team of over 100 people, and I was serving so many customers a day. Like, I would go in at 5 AM. I was supposed to finish at 2, but I could still be there at 10 PM working overtime because it was just honestly crazy. And one of the positives of that job is having such a big team. Even if I wasn't a manager and I was an associate, I had 100 people in that team. I made so many friends, and those friends that I've still talked to now, and when I bump into them, it's nice to catch up with them. So I always say, if you're moving to Canada, try and find a company where there's loads of employees, because you're going to be so much easier trying to find friends because you're working with like 100 people a day. At least one of those is going to want to go for a drink with you after work one day. And that job I absolutely loved. I absolutely loved everything about that job, apart from the pay. That company's known for having very bad pay. Because I was new to Canada, I didn't really know what the right wage was. As a department manager, I was getting just above minimum wage, which was obviously horrendous for how much I was working. And then everything happens for a reason, and someone went into Jake's work asking if there was anyone in his store looking for a manager job. And then he just so happened to mention about me, his girlfriend, who's looking for a manager job for more money than what I was on at Walmart. And I went for an interview like the day after, and then I got it like 2 days after, and then I worked at Puma, which is a very known sporting brand. It's the best company. It's honestly a great company to work for. I loved every single minute of it. And I went there as a supervisor for a store. I did amazing things. I went to Vegas this February with them for the store managers meeting. I went to Winnipeg to open a brand new store. I met the district directors, I met the company directors, I met people that built the stores. Like, I met so many people, like the managers from America. It was honestly insane, and I never see myself leaving that job. I just thought I would just progress. Like, to work one day in the social media of Puma would be absolutely insane, and that was like my goal in my head. And then it just so happened that another store was looking for a talent operations manager, and the pay was too hard to turn down. Like, they reached out to me. If you don't have LinkedIn, by the way, make sure you get LinkedIn if you're moving to Canada. But they reached out to me, I went for an interview, and like, I had no plan of leaving Puma. Like, no one knew that I went for this interview, because I just thought I was going to turn around and say, no thanks, I'm here, because I wasn't looking for a job. I was just going to do experience for the interview. And then they turned around, they told me what the job entailed, they told me the pay, and I was like, oh my god, this job is like so suited to me. And yeah, so I'm a talent operations manager for a brand, which means I do lots of fun stuff. I plan lots of events for the store, do so much, and I just work with such a good management team as well. Like, the management team is just what gets me by every day, and they're so good. I learned so much from them, and yeah, so that's where I am now. I don't think I'm gonna move again. I'm very happy in my job. I don't want to move again, I'm gonna be honest. If someone even asked me to go for an interview, I'm gonna turn it down. I just feel like starting 4 brand new jobs in the space of 3 years is very tiring, like relearning a different like policies and procedures, meeting new people. It's very, yeah. You guys will have to watch my New Year's resolutions video, but this year I took YouTube as a hobby, but next year I really want to succeed in it, and I want to do well in it, and I'm going to be uploading 3 videos a week for as long as possible, and doing 40 hours a week, and that's going to be very hard, but I just know it's going to pay off. And everyone watching this video, I appreciate every single one of you for helping me get this far, but I just really want to push it next year, so that one day I could go down to like 20 to 30 hours at this job while doing social media on the side, which would be great. But yeah, I don't have any plans on leaving this place. Oh my god, imagine. Okay, so we're going to move on to the Q&A part, because I feel like I can answer a lot of my 2-year update through the questions, because you guys normally ask like great questions. So let's have a little look to see what you guys. So the number 1 question I always get is, why did you choose Canada, and are you glad that you did? So 100%, I'm so glad we chose it. I honestly have 0 regrets, like 0 regrets. And I'm very honest, and if I did, I would tell you. But yeah, the reason we chose Canada was just because it's close to home. It's like a 7-hour flight rather than like Australia, which would be our second option. We have the summers, which is perfect for me, and the winters that are perfect for Jake. We want to be more outdoorsy, and we definitely are. In the summers we're hiking, and in the winters we're snowboarding and ice skating. If you're moving to Canada this year, what would you 100% bring? I'm gonna be completely honest, I came over here with 2 suitcases, and if I ever did it again, I would just come over with 1 suitcase with my favorite clothes in. That is honestly, we pre-packed socks, hiking boots, I don't know, coats. Until you get to Canada and realize how cold it is in the winter, you will not want any of that, and you'll want to go out and get the Canadian brands. We brought new socks when we got here, we brought new winter boots, we brought new coats. Everything we've got, we've kind of brought while we're here. And honestly, I could have rocked up with a backpack, outfits in the bag, but before I came I was like, oh my god, I need to take my whole life with me. But you're starting from scratch, you don't know what you're gonna need, so I can't recommend anything. What we get sent over monthly is ibuprofen, paracetamol, bubble bath, some like food stuff, but it's nothing that's like major. You can get everything over here, and people stress about packing coming over here. I know, because my brother and his girlfriend's going through it right now. They move over here in like 1 week and 2 days, and they're like, we've got 2 big suitcases and 2 hand luggage. But if I go back to my time, I was exactly the same, and I would be so different now. How is paying for healthcare over there? Are the prices closer to the UK or the US? So one thing, when I moved over, I thought it was going to be like America, where you have to pay for everything, and I was very pleasantly surprised that they have something in place here in Ontario called OHIP. I don't know about other provinces, so please don't ask. But in Ontario we have OHIP, and that's if you're in a job, you're paying taxes, you can apply for it exactly the same as the NHS. You get an OHIP card. If you need to go to hospital, you just show your OHIP card, and it's completely free of charge. And I've seen the prices on the window for like a 1-hour visit to the hospital was like $2,000. So make sure as soon as you get your job, go and get your OHIP. You just need a letter from your employer stating how many hours you work for a week and how you're not on like a contract which ends in like a year. You're like constantly working with them. It's really easy, and I recommend getting it straight away as soon as you start working, so you don't accidentally get injured or ill and you need to go to hospital and pay those. Also, amazing thing over here about Canada, which I don't think they have in the UK, is when you work for a company, not all companies, but most companies, especially all the ones I've worked for so far, you can have benefits and you pay into that on your paycheck, so, which means I can go and get, so every 3 months I go get a clean from the dentist, which is completely free. I can get glasses once a year. I can go get a massage. I have $500 a year for massages. And like, you have an app. There's 2 main companies. It's Manulife and Canada Life. You have an app, and if you're married to someone or have kids, they also get it, and it tells you like how much you have left. So for example, if you need a fill-in at a dentist, I have like $10,000 a year, and it will take off 1,000, so I know I've got 9,000 left. So if the dentist is like, I have to remove a tooth, it's going to cost you 2,000, you can look on your app and be like, perfect, I can afford it. And yeah, it's so good. Like, I don't wear glasses, so that means Jake can use both of ours. Like, I get 150 a year, he gets 150, which means he can have $300 on him. And it is a bit complicated to get started, but I highly recommend to pay into it. If you start a job in Canada and they say, do you want to start the benefit plan, it's honestly so worth it. Like I said, I pay like $100, and since I've been here, I've probably had about 6 cleans. I've had like 4 fill-ins. I've had my wisdom tooth removed. I've never paid a penny. I went to go see a sports massage place because I hurt my back. I went for like 4 weeks in a row, once a week, and never paid for it. If you need to do counselling, anything like that. If I had a child, it goes on there too, so I could have more balances for them, and it's great. Honestly, definitely get it. Did you see yourself ever coming back to the UK? I don't think so. Obviously, if I did social media full time, I would definitely go home for like 2 months of the year to spend with family and friends, like spread across the year, because I miss them so much. But I don't think I ever see myself back living there at all, to be honest. I don't know, no, I can't see myself at all going back to the UK to live. Cost of living is rising here just as much as it is in the UK. When me and Jake first moved to Canada, I remember fuel being 80 cents a litre. It is now 1.30, which is still cheap, so I'm not complaining. All of you British people watching this who's paying like £2 a litre. Yeah, ours is nothing compared to yours, but for people that have lived here all their lives, it's definitely hitting them hard. Grocery stuff's going up, it's more expensive. Our bills are more expensive, but like I said, nothing like the UK. The UK has just got so crazy, and that's why I'm kind of glad I've moved out, because when you get paid, it's not going all to bills. Like, I have the heating on all day. In the summer, I have the air conditioning on all day, and my electric bill came through yesterday and it was $33 for the month. And I'm not saying that to boast or to rub it in. I just want people to know like the difference. Like, when you move to Canada, yes, you're paying more for your phone plan and groceries, but honestly, your bills of living is so much cheaper. I think I've answered most questions, not all of them, but I don't want this video to be like an hour long. But I want to say thank you so much if you've been on this journey with me for the last 3 years. Honestly, it's not going to end here. Next year we have got some big plans. If you do not know my brother, my younger brother Lawrence, he is moving out here with his girlfriend Olivia, and they're going to be joining us on all of our adventures. We've also made 2 amazing friends, Jack and Kerry, so the 6 of us have got lots planned. We're going on so many adventures. I'm so excited. We're even starting early, like January 6th I think is our first adventure. And like I said, I am pushing YouTube a lot more, so make sure you're subscribed. Let me know in the comments your favorite highlights have been for the last 3 years. I would definitely say camping in Inverheron is definitely one of my favorite memories in the last year. Like, driving our dream truck up with our RV on the back with our 2 best friends, and then the water was insane, and just drinking around a barbecue and laughing, and honestly, it was one of my favorite memories of the year. And I'll probably update you now at 4 years, which is crazy. So 1 year from now, I'll sit down and do an update with you and see what we're doing. It's crazy really how quick the years are going, but thanks for watching. I'll see you soon.
Where do